then I come here and you're on the phone yapping,
Mm-hmm.
and now
Just let it
it's
all
20
out.
minute late.
What is that? What is that meme with like the fucking?
Pitter patter.
No, what is that meme with the Star Wars guy where he's just like let the anger flow
Star Wars.
through you?
What do you mean? What does it mean?
When Emperor Palpatine, he's just like let the anger flow through you. Like that's what
What
you are.
about it?
That's what you're being like,
No.
dude.
Pitter
Like
patter.
it was a joke. It was a fucking.
Pitter
It was a
patter.
fucking joke. All right.
Pitter patter.
Yeah. So consequently, here we are. How
Dude, go piss or piss your pants.
I don't have to pee.
I thought you said you had to piss.
That was the joke.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All
So
right. Well, welcome to the show.
yes, I'm Jake,
I'm Drake.
and this is the Jake and Drake show. So how the fuck are you, young man?
Tired, sore, and but eager to start physical therapy this week.
This week?
Yep.
Uh, so just give us a quick rundown about the physical therapy, like drugs, movement, shit like that.
Um, Basically, I go to this little room and I get my ass kicked by a pretty cool gal, but she kicks my ass. Her name varies from evil and mean Becky to Becky is like the greatest in the world, and occasionally I get massages. So
Is this the first time you've ever been through like physical therapy after surgery?
after surgery, yes, but this isn't really for the surgery specifically. It's more for the muscle atrophy, which happened because of the surgeries,
Yeah.
but not the surgery itself.
Well, no. I mean, I've been through it twice now in my illustrious career known as life, but this
Well,
is the
yeah, but it's different physical therapy than like if I had my elbow reconstructed or some shit like that.
I had surgery like way before that. I had ACL reconstruction too when I was 18, 17, 18. So I'm saying I
Yeah,
can relate. I can relate to the pain, but it was a lot harder being fucking 30, 36, 36 at the time. 36. So I was 36. Yes. Yes, because now I am 37. But so what are you doing? Are you going in for like an hour, 2 hours, once a week, twice
it's
a
usually
week,
just hour sessions.
hour
I don't
session?
know yet. This is mainly this first session. It's going to be just kind of you know gauging range of motion, stuff like that, and figuring out the plan. So
Hmm.
see what I can do, what I can't. Right now, I'm on still technically on bed rest and can't lift, or not supposed to lift more than 5 pounds, even though our fat ass cats are more than 5 pounds.
Are you actually ambulatory? Like ambulatory means like are you up and walking?
Not too much, a little bit, but I get yelled at because I'm apparently trying to rush things, and my wife doesn't want me to re-injure myself or anything like that.
Hmm.
And I understand that. It's been a long 3 months now, almost. Shit, it'll be 3 months in a week. So
Hmm. And when is the timetable for? I guess like I don't even know like normal physical activity like just getting up and walking outside without a mask on.
that's a glorious thing about where I live. Except the hospitals. I kept having to put the mask on in the hospitals.
So like when are you up and walking without restriction?
But I don't know. We'll find out after physical therapy. I don't need the walker right now for the most part, although my balance is still off. Um, and my right leg still, depending on where I am in the medication cycle, still has shooting pain, um, and kind of a throbbing pain, both a shooting and a throbbing pain. So we'll get that all figured out. So I'm supposed to be walking with a walker just so I have something in case I do start to lose my balance. But
Do you have
around
like
the
do you have a
around the
cane or
house, I don't do
something?
that. No,
No, nothing like
I have a
that.
walker,
Just a walker.
but around the house I don't use it because I figure, I've got walls close enough
Mm.
between, you know, the bedroom and the bathroom, or my office and the bathroom. So
Mm.
if I start to lose balance, I can just slam my hands against the walls.
Sure. Yeah. Why not? Um. So what about our proposed special stream, like ETA on that? We look in March. We
Oh,
look
the
in
specials.
April. Yeah.
I don't know. In fact, I meant to look up. Well, I'll know more after physical therapy because we've got to get the pain to go away. But I am currently taking three different pain medications, or not pain medications, two different types of pain medications, one muscle relaxant, and all of them I'm not supposed to be drinking with. So
Right. Right. It's funny you mentioned that. I was so one of my so I'm doing. Did I tell you I was doing community service?
what'd you do?
That's what everybody says. So
What'd you do?
I didn't do anything. There's this ribbon in Boy Scouts with Guns called the Meritorious Volunteer Service Medal. It's MOVSM. So basically, I have to do like 500 hours of community service, and so I'm just like, you know what? I don't have too much downtime, but I have a significant amount of downtime. So what I want to do is get back to the community, and one of the things I specialize in is
Wait. Are you doing it because you want to give back to the community, or are you doing it because you want a silly little ribbon?
no, there's both. It's That's the thing is so people that normally go for this ribbon give back to the community anyway. So like it's like let's say for example you were I don't know, dude. Let's say you were just really good at softball or baseball or basketball or something. So essentially, what you would do is you would basically go out and you would give your services for free, like, or you would give your time, and you would teach kids how to play basketball better or how to throw a baseball. So what I'm doing is I'm teaching kids how to lift weights properly, how to get stronger, how to build their physique, how to correct nutrition, how to rest cycle correctly. And so instead of me going to the gym for myself, and if I go by myself, I can get done in the gym for like an hour and a half. I with these guys it's like another 30 to 45 minutes because there's two other people at the gym with me. So I am taking these guys to the gym. They're like 18 and 20-year-old 18 20-year-old men, young men, and I teach them how to lift. I teach them different lifts. I spot them. I coach them. I mentor them, and it's what they want. So it's not like it's they want to get big, but I've seen these kids because they're in the area. Like I've seen them before, and I was like, all right, well here's what I'm gonna do. Initially, I was gonna put a Craigslist ad and basically be like, look, here's what I'm offering. No charge, no fee. Uh, I'll spot you. I will teach you this. I will spend time with you. I will educate you on lifting. I will educate you on cardiovascular exercise. And I'm not credentialed. Okay, so I'm not giving these guys any advice that like you know what I mean. Like I'm not giving these guys advice, or I'm not pushing them to where they're gonna hurt themselves. But it's like, look, just hang out with me for like a couple months. In this case, we started in February and we will end probably in May. So in 4 months, look back where you were 4 months ago and look at what you were doing and see where you are now and go from there. Because at some point you got to let your little birdies fall out of the nest and fly. So I have
So
been. What's up?
do you get credit per person? So like if you spend 5 hours
No,
in the gym, well,
I
let's say 5 hours in the gym one day, do you get 5 hours of credit, or do you get 5 hours per person you're working with?
I'm gonna be honest, and I'm just gonna go per session because these two guys are brothers. So I'm taking two brothers into the gym pretty much 6 days a week, and I'm teaching them the correct way to lift. I'm teaching them the correct weight, the correct reps, how to assess themselves because I'm not going to be with them forever. Like I don't want to sit there and take this knowledge with me. I just kind of want to pass it on, kind of like any responsible person. Like if you give a shit about the community, your kids, your friends. You have knowledge, you don't hoard it. So something that I've learned in my brief 20 years of this journey known as lifting weights, I want to push it on to someone else at an earlier age. That way they live a better life and they don't fuck themselves up. They don't have injuries. And I have to get 500 community service hours to get this ribbon. But to me, even though it's a ribbon, like I already here's the funny thing, Darian. So I already know I'm getting out. I know that I want to retire from the service at 20 years. And this ribbon means nothing in the grand scheme of anything, but to me, when I look back on it, it's more I'm going to look back on it like the people I have helped, because I am going to move on from them and I will help
You
more
should take your
people.
glasses off, by the way, because I can almost practically read your screen through.
Can you? What do you see?
No, I
Like,
just see your screens up.
I know, but I don't have a teleprompter, and it is kind of bright, and it is kind of late, and I do want to go to bed. Um, I do want to like pass my knowledge on to somebody, and then somebody else, and somebody else, and that's essentially what we're doing here is, if anybody that tunes in, they can at least hear some different opinions from two different folks that don't agree on, maybe less than 30% of the shit, that we talk about, we actually agree on. So we talk about this and our Venn diagram is like here instead of like 50%. So I've been doing that, and their dad just had surgery too. So he had surgery on his feet. Like he fucked his feet up. And so he's getting like some metal implants into his tarsals. And that shit's fucking painful. So their old man has been sending me nothing but like really good comments. I mean, he's like, dude, my boys, they come home, they're fucking happy, they're learning shit, they're feeling stronger, they're feeling more confident. We've only been at it since like the beginning of February, really, and we haven't got to the dieting portion yet. We really haven't touched like the cardiovascular portion. And something they're learning is staying up late playing video games and then getting up early in the morning. They're learning the rest portion on their own. But it is very interesting because someone that is going to be a parent very soon, it's good to spend time with, some kids, and to
Oh,
what? What's that?
19 and 20-year-olds are not kids.
I
As
understand.
far as far as
No,
far as like spending time with kids
I
to get used to the
do.
idea of parenting.
Well, I understand that. And trust me, if COVID had not happened, okay, if COVID had not happened, I would be volunteering to hang out with smaller kids, and I'm talking like the 5 to 8 range. Like I had already went and done my research as far as getting a background check to make sure I'm not a bad guy or I like to touch kids or something like that. But this is the best I can hope for in a situation where nobody's doing anything and nobody's, you know what I mean? What I hope to do is once I'm done with them and things get better, I would like to put in my packet to basically spend time with kids that want to play football, or they want to play baseball, or they want to do softball, or they want to do volleyball, whatever they want to run, you know, which in those areas I wouldn't consider myself a subject matter expert, but more so because of the fact that I do this shit regularly, like running or training, like not specifically expertise in that training, but at least there's a mentor there that like, okay, I'm gonna outrun this old man, and so we're gonna run, or we're gonna hit volleyballs, or we're gonna hit softball, or we're gonna play catch. I could play catch. I got gloves. I keep them conditioned, but that's what I've been doing. So the old man's wife has been bringing the kids to the gym, and and he's on painkillers because of his foot injury and his surgery. And I was basically like, hey man, you need to get him off those pain meds, so he can get on that good stuff, that bourbon. And she just gave me this fucking look like, don't you fucking dare fuck with my man. And I was like, okay. It was really funny. But I look forward to the day when you come off your painkillers, and we can have that special, you know 1.5 hour episode of Darian trying some different whiskeys. It would be great. It would be great. I can't wait. And so, everybody, look forward to that because I'm telling you right now, Darian, he's gonna get fucked up, and there's only 6 whiskeys he's got to try. It's gonna
That's
happen.
because I don't drink anymore.
Well, you said you drink occasionally.
You're right, right, okay, yeah, but I mean, when I in general don't drink. I don't like when I was younger. It was pretty much a given every weekend. Oh, some sort of drinking activity was going to be taking place.
Hmm.
But I have since learned that I can be much more sociable and easy to get along with if I'm not drinking. So I just don't.
I think you're hard. I think you're harder to get along with when you're sober. I think at least I think if you get that happy buzz, I think I think you open up more and you know I don't know.
All right, let me ask you a question. You wouldn't know because you didn't come to my wedding.
So are you
But
saying you're straight up asshole every time you drink?
no, not necessarily a straight up asshole, but my dick usually ends up out of my pants. Like straight up at my wedding or the reception party. I didn't even know what started the conversation, but uh, father-in-law started talking about something about whipping it out or whatever.
Wait. How many times? I mean, how many times have you met this guy prior to the wedding?
Yeah, I don't know, a handful.
So he's met like the Soryu beforehand.
Yep.
And
Never
okay,
the drunk me.
all right. So all right, go continue.
And I don't, like I said, I don't know how the conversation went that way because I was pretty fucking drunk already, and it was brought up, about whipping it out. I was like, fuck yeah, I'd whip it out right here at my wedding. And I don't know how or what, but from like multiple angles, my wife and her 2 friends from like different parts of the room all came like running out, going, no, 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 and prevented that from happening.
How fucking tossed were you, dude?
Well, not, I mean, drunk, but not that drunk. I used to whip it out all the time. So,
So this
St.
isn't a
Patty's Day one year, I just got, I'm at a bar wearing my kilt. Everyone's drinking. Some cute girl says, "What are you wearing under your kilt?" And I just go and lift it up and show.
Why did you wear a kilt to a St. Patrick's Day event?
Just to make a point.
But it's no point. Irish and Scottish are like diametrically opposed, okay?
Yes, but we all agree on drinking.
Okay, but Scottish are normally like the responsible drunks, and Irish are normally not.
Well, I'm Scotch Irish, so
What? Oh my! Now you're Scotch Irish, so now you
a quarter.
God, dude.
I did. I looked up the clan and tartan and everything.
What I find funny
through my mom's side, my grandmother.
What I find funny is that like when we were actually talking about drinks, and you were talking about like the whiskey you did drink, and it was mostly Irish whiskey. Like, so when I was talking about Scotch, you're like, well, I really don't know anything about Scotch.
I'm not when I drink, I just get a bottle and I drink. I don't sit there and sample. Oh, this one tastes like fucking the testicles of, the brewmaster or whatever. I just drink. I drink to get drunk. That's the point of drinking.
That is the problem with drinking is when okay.
No, that's the point of drinking.
No, it's not.
Why else would you drink?
Okay, let me give you an example. Terrible example. But like why ask me why okay, I'll ask you. Why do you think I go to the gym? Why do you think I work out? Why do you think I try to stay fit?
Do you want the honest answer?
That's what I'm saying. Tell me what you think.
The honest answer, why do I think you go to the gym? To get some time away from the house.
And you're wrong. You're absolutely.
That's not completely wrong.
No, you're absolutely. Dude, I go to the gym. If I was solo, not working out with these community service kids, I would go to the gym 5 days a week. And I normally go to the gym early in the morning when the woman's still in bed. So if she's already asleep, that could be an hour and a half. I'm playing video games. Why do I go to the gym? Because it first of all, it is healthy, right? Second of all, when you leave the gym, if you do everything you're supposed to do, there's this euphoria feel, almost like, I guess, like getting high or getting buzzed or something. So it's the feeling of the mental feeling of knowing that you're doing something good for
Well,
your
that's just
body.
physical. That's any exercise, not necessarily
But
gym work or
guess
whatever.
what? The side effect of that is having a better appearance, which also feeds into the mentality and the sociology of you just feeling good about yourself. So yes, you have endorphins, they pop out, they make you feel good, they suppress the pain, and you get stronger and you're more physically capable of doing shit. But a side effect of that is you actually look better, whether it's your jawline, your waistline, your muscles, whatever the fuck is going on. If you're doing the right thing, that is a side effect. So what I would challenge you is to say, if you treated a good distilled, not beer's a little different. Beer is I mean, I used to not drink anything, really, but when I started drinking wine, and then I had my wine phase, and then I had a beer phase, and now I'm in my distilled spirits phase. Is like each one of them, not so much the beer, but wine and distilled spirits, probably because they're casked and they're aged a little bit to some extent. Like there is a certain like sophistication of, you smell it. Oh, it has a smell.
No, I
And
understand why some people drink or why some people enjoy that.
mhm.
I don't.
I'm saying,
I've got zero interest if my special whiskey was aged in a Himalayan rosewood fucking cask or whatever the fuck. Does it taste good? Will it get me wrecked?
but
All
not.
right.
But here's the thing: is like, if you that's like that thinking. I'm not gonna discount your way of thinking. I will say that, like, it's a bit shallow. It's like you going to your steakhouse and you're just eating meat because you're fucking hungry. You're getting a steak because you're hungry, but we all know that you go to that steakhouse because that steakhouse makes the steak the way you like it to taste. So if you're going to feed yourself, it's almost like, okay, Darian, let me ask you this: would you choose to eat chicken breast 6 meals a day with a handful of rice and broccoli and cauliflower every day from now until the time you die? Like, no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't, because there is some enjoyment in what you eat. Like, there is some kind of like chemical response that goes to your brain. Don't quote me on what the whole.
Hence the reason
What I'm saying is,
I don't drink.
well,
I don't enjoy any of those aspects. I
you,
have zero interest in any of those aspects.
it's not that you have zero interest. I think more so it's that you need to develop the interest. I'm not saying,
Why?
well, for one show you do. One
Yes,
show.
for one show I do, but in general, that is why I don't drink because I don't care about those things. I only if I'm drinking, I care about getting wrecked,
Mm,
and that's it. So, I that's it.
oh, you cut out there. I'm sorry. What'd you
No,
say?
just if I drink because I want to get wrecked.
Mm.
And since I don't care to get wrecked or live my life that way, I don't drink.
Oh, but, well, okay. I
because,
understand.
because I don't care. I don't care about the smell or the taste or the viscosity or any of that crap.
You you did you. I mean, you're from Cali. You're from the Upper Cali. Like, did you not taste a lot of wines?
I've tasted some wines, and my ex was really big into wine, and I never was into wine. I collected wines more as a like my idea was buy and sell, but then they ended up just getting drank. Um, but yeah, no, that's it.
Mm.
There's a couple. There's some wines that I do like with particular foods, and I'll just get those specific things for like a particular meal. Like there's what was it, a Chianti
Hmm.
that was really really good with like a pasta dish, and it was, I can't remember the company, Da Vinci.
Yeah, that I love that one. I know exactly which. I was like, ooh, I know a really good smiles per dollar Chianti. But what kind of pasta dish was it?
Just like a red dish with the sausage and stuff. Like I had it at a well restaurant in the old town I lived in California.
I will say that that Chianti you're talking about is the one that I normally buy for people that say they do like red wine. Uh, they're like, oh, I was like, okay, okay, I'll, and I
And
buy
that's
it.
the other thing too, is I've got really fucking expensive taste in wine.
But that bottle's not that expensive.
That one's not.
No,
But
and
as far as like cabs, silver oak, and that's $100 a bottle. So you
mm,
know,
yeah. Well,
so
I learned there was a sophistication with it. It took me a while, and that's kind of my thing. But I'm glad that
me,
you're.
I'd rather for wine, when it comes to wine, this is what I prefer. I prefer the 3 for 12 deal where you can sit there, get 3 bottles of whatever, and just slam it down and get wrecked.
Dude.
Which happened at a buddy's wedding.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna ignore this part, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. There are a lot of boxed wines that you can buy for about $25-$30, and it's like delicious red. It's like delicious white wine, and it tastes great, and it's significantly cheaper than Stella Rosa, and it sits in your fridge. It's got the dude. It
I,
is.
I,
It
I
is.
don't I don't do like the refrigerated wines.
Dude,
There are a couple of muscats that I was into. Actually, I take that back. Ice wines. Ice wines were one I did
fuck is
really enjoy.
the fuck is a ice wine?
They're sweeter because they have a higher sugar content. It's like a later harvest or something. So they call it ice because like the grapes freeze, so it does something with it.
Mm-hmm.
And ports, those I like with a good tiramisu.
So now you're just okay. All right. So you're living like the decadent life here. Sweet wine, nice dessert. Good night.
I mean, if I'm if we're talking about wines I'm going to drink, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No shit. I still look forward to I still look forward to that podcast in the near future.
I do too. And you know what? You should just come up here. We'll go to the steakhouse,
Mm.
and I'll convince the wife to drive, and we'll get wrecked on Bloody Marys.
I will tell you though that should that actually come to fruition as for my job, I probably won't be able to go on vacation until May. But as for the child being born, I probably won't be able to go until like fucking September. But then I know it's a lot of excuses. I'm supposed to
But
leave.
then you're probably not going to be able to take your vacation, until like 2025 or something.
Well, the goal essentially, exposing my own personal schedule here. The goal was to end up still in Texas, and just recently they opened up my list of places I can go, and nothing was Texas. There was a place in Kentucky, there was a couple places in Tennessee, there was a place in North Carolina, there was a place in Virginia, there was a place in Maryland, there was a place in Mississippi. There were three
So no
places.
hood.
No, there were three places in Korea, and then there were two additional spots for a special. You have to have a special identifier on your resume, and it involved being a parachutist, which means you basically have to be like airborne. I would assume. And one of them was Florida to work with an SF group, and the other one was in Bragg to work with an SF group. And it's kind of disappointing because it's like, dude, I'm just trying to go somewhere, stay there for 6 months, and then fucking drop my retirement paperwork. This is some fucking bullshit.
No,
So
why not just stay where you're at for the next that 6 months instead?
because if I stay here for the next 6 months and the person that is currently in charge of my team is in charge of my team, I would probably, I can't do it. So, uh, since we're freelancing, I'll just give a little backstory. So, um, oh shit, my homeboy's calling. Hold on, I gotta. Anyway, that guy ain't called me in a minute. In a minute. So, where we work, right? We work in a battalion, and our sole function is
Reader's Digest version.
we work in the we maintenance and we do supply. That's what we do. All right. So when I first got here, the dude that was leaving was like, basically, yo, I want you to be the head dude in charge. And what I said was, I don't want to be the head dude in charge. And he's like, why don't you want to be the head dude in charge? And me being kind of like self righteous at times, I said, look, if I'm in charge of this element of four people, me, this person, this person, this person, and a captain. So being in charge of four people, being in charge of a captain, basically. If I do this, I'm going to get the top bullet. I'm going to get the top block. I'm going to get the best ratings. And I don't want to do that because I don't plan on staying in this institution known as, the U.S. military. I don't want to do that. I would rather just sit in the back seat and let someone that wants to stay in the military get those ratings so that they can get promoted. So when this other person showed up, they took the position, and for that first year, they did a lot of things that I wouldn't have done because I understand that we're all senior non-commissioned officers. We're all grown adults. We all have careers. We don't want to do shit to fuck our careers up because we want to retire. We want to. When you've been in so long, there's a lot of things you won't do. Maybe at a certain point you're like, yeah, I'll smoke a joint, or yeah, I'll drive home drunk, or. But when you get to a certain point, you get that save point. You're like, yo, if I get a DUI, if I beat my wife, if I get drunk, if I rape somebody, all these bad things, I'm done. So I spent.
Well, then you should just be a cop. They can get away with that. Oh wait, sorry. Go ahead. Go on.
So at any rate, I let this person be in charge of the team, and this person, the longer I spent under this person's tenure, I gave him a solid year of leadership, like developing, learning who's on your team, learning who does what. Like basically, like if you were in charge of people, you always knew that there was that guy or that girl that you could say, yo, dude, I need this shit done tomorrow, and they get it done. And then those people that like they're not prepared, they forget, they're lazy, and you're like, okay, these projects I need it done in 2 weeks. So this person never had any of these leadership skills. They never understood what it was like, because it's one thing, Darian, if you're my subordinate, if you are not the same rank as me, and
You can summit mountain. What's your point?
well,
Any moment now.
oh my God, Darian, calm down. I'm telling you what happened. I have to be very thorough. If I outrank you and I tell you to do something, if you talk back, there's consequences. But if we're the same rank and you're in a higher position, you got to understand that we're still the same rank. And most importantly, when I tell you, like, look, you need to calm down with this bullshit because you can count on me. Every time you've asked me to do something, I've done it. Every time something needed to be done, I volunteered to do it. When you didn't want to do it, I volunteered to do it. And when homeboy, you told him to do it and he didn't want to do it, I still did it. So all this bullshit you piling over here on me, like you wanna make me out to. I was like, no, I just don't give a fuck because I want to get out. So two things I learned. One was I should have taken the job, because at least in the amount of time I had left, everything would have been squared away. I would have said, hey, you do this, you do that, and I will sit here and take care of everything else like a boss should. Instead, it's micromanagement. And at this point, being almost 18 years in, I don't like being fucking micromanaged. It's stupid. I'm almost 40. I've been in 18 years. Don't micromanage me. Like, what this tells me is that you have no leadership experience whatsoever. Because it is easy to manage somebody that is not on your level, somebody that is subordinate to you, than it is to manage somebody that is a peer. So when someone's your peer, they're the same age as you, they're the same rank as you, and you kind of have to come at them at an adult level versus like I'm in charge and I can wreck your career. You know what I mean? So this person continuously, I've been nice, and after a year, the same shit, and I was like, okay, this growing pain shit is over. Look, I'm done with this bullshit. You need to say what you want, tell me where I need to be, tell me what you need done. Don't remind me. I will ask you if I'm confused. And the minute I fail you, here's the key part. The minute I fail you, the minute that I don't do what I'm supposed to do, be where I'm supposed to be, whatever, then you have every right to fucking ream me. But until then, treat me like an adult. Treat me like a 40-year-old man that's been, almost 20 years in the fucking job. But like what I know now, hindsight's always 2020. I should have taken the job, but here I am. Do I want to spend more time with this person? No, I don't. I want to leave. I wanted to stay in Texas because my family is here, and my old woman's family is here, and that's what I wanted to do. But the gods have deemed it not. So I have to decide between Virginia, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, or Korea. Florida's
Which one
out.
will let you play with the best toys?
Obviously, working with the special forces would,
There
but
we go.
but
That's my vote.
I would. You're ask. Let me ask you this. You old spry fellow. Let's assume.
It's Florida. Who cares?
Let me ask you though. As let's assume that you didn't have any of the medical issues you have now. Any of them. How comfortable would you be jumping out of a perfectly good airplane
I've done it.
4 times a year?
I'd do it.
You said you would, but you need to understand your body.
I have done it, and I would do it.
4 times a year.
I have not done it 4 times in a year. I've done it twice.
No,
in my
no.
life, but I would do it 4 times in a year.
But you understand, like, the kind of jumping you've done is completely different from what the Army does. So
Yeah.
you'd be carrying like 2 bags full of shit, and you'd be on a string line, and you would jump out, and you would land, and you would tuck and roll, and
So you don't even have to pull your own chute. It's just the line.
right, it's just the line. But the point is like you still have to be parachutist qualified to hang out with special forces.
Yeah, don't wear boxers, dude. Pro tip: do not wear boxers.
I don't wear boxers in uniform. That's just blasphemy. Like, I need a little support. But on top of that, you still gotta run like 6 miles, every couple days. You still gotta do all this.
So you'll get your exercise still. All right.
No, it's different exercise. It's different. It's more cardiovascular. I'm less cardiovascular as a parent.
So just as a support person for that team.
Yes, you were expected to live up to the same physical, just like if you want.
What is the support position? Being their armorer?
No, support position.
Working in the armory?
A subject.
Working in their gear?
A subject matter expert. Like they would put you through like a 6-week crash course on how to do the electronics job, because that's what I would be doing. And so basically you would be able to troubleshoot a radio like that.
That sounds boring.
Well, it sounds boring, but then you're hanging out in Panama for 2 weeks. And then you're hanging out, you take like a 1-month break, and then you're in fucking Congo for like a month. And then you come back home for like 2 months. And then you're in fucking Uzbekistan for like another 2 weeks. Like, it's an exciting lifestyle. But at this point, like, just think of someone like about to have a kid, someone that's a little bit older. It's just not appealing to me. If you would have given me this opportunity when I was young and dumb, single, nothing to worry about, like, yeah, maybe I'd fucking conform to that lifestyle, but it's not what I want to do. Especially since 6 months after I get there, I'm gonna fucking drop that retirement paperwork, and it's not fair to them. Not fair at all to them. So that's kind of what I'm going through. Didn't get what I wanted, and so now I got to kind of choose out of everything I picked what is more important. And
So
I'm thinking
you
I'll
could
end
also
up
have a
including.
no shitter with your current boss and like, listen, I'm gonna dip out of here and leave you with a sorry shitty mess, or I can write out the last year in my retirement and help you, but you got to stop being a dickhead.
If it was you and me, as logically, I mean, we disagree on a lot of things, but there is that certain like kind of like, I don't want to say bro code because we're bros as in like men, but it doesn't even apply to that. Like the fact that you respect me as an adult, even if I like didn't agree with you, and I respect you as an adult, as an American, um, it doesn't work with it doesn't work like that with everybody. And this person would just basically, there's a lot more we got to get offline about this. We can address it later, but it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. I'm just telling you right now, it would not work. It would not fucking work with this person. Like,
So telling them point blank, listen, if I've got these papers here that all you need to do is turn in and I'm out of here. I am more than happy to stay and finish off my last year helping you out, making your life easier. But that's seems like a no brainer.
it would seem like a no-brainer to you and me. It would, because the way that you think about like the philosophy with treating people with respect, treating people as they should be treated, giving somebody the opportunity, like here's your
Well,
opportunity.
no, treating people with respect and treating people how they should be treated are two different things.
They're two separate things. That's why I listed them separately. They're not the same thing. So treating people with respect and treating them as they should be. So treating someone as they should be is just how you would treat a normal person on the street. But treating with someone with respect is like they've given you that respect, right? So if you feel like I feel, like respect is earned. You respect somebody based off of essentially how they treat you, how they carry themselves, other things like that. So that's why I list them separately. But there's like a resume, right? So you read people just like I read people, and I'm sure you can look at someone and you could talk with them and you can associate with them and you could say, okay, well, this is how this man or woman carries themselves, and this is their ideals and their beliefs. And even though I may not agree with them, let's see how they react with my ideals and beliefs. Oh, you don't give a fuck about what I think, or what I, like you don't give a fuck what I think, and you don't think I'm, well, fuck you then. And that limits like the respect factor. But as a person, like you wouldn't infringe on their basic rights as a person. But as far as respect goes, you probably wouldn't respect that person because maybe you think taxes are fucking theft, and they think everybody should be taxed into the ground. And then when you say taxation is theft, they're like, fuck you. And you're like, well, you know what? Fuck you. And that's how respect goes, right? Right down the fucking drain. So, but yes, as far as you and I were concerned, if you were this person and I was the other person, like you would be like, you know what? I can respect that. And that's where the line is drawn. But that's not what's going on here. You got to remember there's like
So
a,
you're so what you're saying is you can't have a no shit off the record conversation with this guy,
I've had this conversation several times. Several times. Like the
knowing that including the part about I can walk out of here right now and leave you holding the bag and having to do all the work that I've been doing because nobody else is going to do it. You've included that part into it.
I have in a sense. Not to that extreme because this was like maybe 4 months removed where basically in my shop there's me, there's this other person, and this other person. And so it was, let's say there's person A, which is person in charge. There's person B,
Well,
which is,
I don't need
well,
all
in,
those
in, in
details.
a nutshell, like person B didn't do their job. So person A came into the office like where me and person B were working and said, hey, this needs to be done. And I looked at person B, and person B and me are homeboys. The problem with person B is forgetful. Person B is a hard worker. Person B is a cool person, just forgetful. And we all have our flaws. So I looked at person B. I said, all right, I'll call the guy. So I call the guy, doesn't answer. I say, person B, call the guy. And, my computer's not working. Long story short, person B ends up dropping the ball. I end up calling a bunch of people to get this shit done. Not my job. I say essentially, look, I tell the last guy I call person A and see what the fuck they want from you. Because they are giving me the runaround to fucking do all this shit when in reality it's you. So that person calls person A, says, hey, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Person A calls me while I'm in line to buy some fucking taquitos and a Monster and starts bitching me out. And I'm like, yo, what? Hey, calm down. And I'm like, look, calm down. Let me explain. Let me explain how we got here. And person A, I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'll be in the office in 2 minutes. I roll up and I'm fucking like, and person A is like, well, I think we need person B in here. I was like, no, he doesn't need to be here. I'm about to fucking rip you a new asshole. I don't want him to hear what I have to say. Bring person B in here, and I rip this person a new asshole, and I explain how I went about what I could do. And person A is like, well, you could have. I was like, no, you and this person went on vacation and left me here by myself. This is what happened while you were on vacation. I didn't even have time to eat lunch, more or less take care of what your jobs normally are. The the responsible adults in all of us know that you can do your job. This person does their job and I do my job. And if we decide to go on vacation, we decide to take leave, we're on leave, but we still are responsible for our job because no one else can do our job. So when I tell this person to do their job, and I'm throwing B under the bus, and they don't do their job, that's not my fault because he's the only person who can do his job. And you went on leave the same time this person went on leave. And I've got to go do this, and I got to do this, and you both were gone for 2 fucking weeks. So this piece of paper, and the person's like, basically, well, you could have, well, why didn't you look over? I was like, it's not my job to look over the paperwork in the first place. They send me the paperwork, I fucking route it. And then I go put out a fire over here, and over here, and over here, and then I eat some fucking applesauce and a fucking tuna breast, and I go back to work. And it was like that for 2 weeks. So fuck you, and that's how that conversation went. And since then that person's been a little like, okay, I was wrong. Didn't admit they were wrong. Knew that everybody here in that room was the same rank, but this person held a higher leadership. But instead of choosing to hear me out and be like, look, hey man, look, let me explain why, because this is what I did. They just choose to yell at me, and then I just fucking snap. It was like, so I'm telling you, this is the 3rd time I have fucking snapped on this person, and I try not to snap. I mean, I don't snap on you that often, so it's not going to work with me staying here where I am. I have to go somewhere because this person just does not know how to lead people that are the same rank. Because when you are dealing with people that are making the same amount of paycheck you are, even though you have the position, like, okay, you were in charge, they all make the same paycheck. So it's almost diplomacy. It really is. That's what it is. It's diplomacy. When everybody makes the same amount of money you do, it's like you have to appeal to them on a personal level. Like, look, hey, Darian, I need you to come to work 3 days a week, and I need you to stay online 2 days a week. And those 2 days you're at home, I need you to get on your email from 9. I need you to monitor it from 9 o'clock till 1600. That's it. Okay? Now, when you're dealing with people that make less than you, even though you're still in a higher position, it's like, you will do this or I will ruin your career. It's different. And this person doesn't understand that. And that's why it's like, I could have that conversation with someone like you because you would understand that. You would be like, all right, you know what? I get to stay at home for 2 days a week. I only got to come in Monday, Wednesday, Friday. what's the problem? I come in from 9 and I leave at 1300 versus like someone way down there and they're just like Roger, because they know that you can essentially detriment their career, make their life miserable, all those things. This person doesn't understand that, and I've been with this person for almost 3 years, and I had the opportunity to take that role, but I chose not to because I know I want to retire. I don't need I don't need to hold someone back that wants to be in the institution. And fuck me for being a nice person. Fuck me for, you know, all that stuff. So, no, it's not going to work out. I got to pick all these duty stations and. At any rate, what's going on in the news, dude? I got to get off that tangent. I'm getting heated.
I don't know. I'm not really following politics anymore.
God. Ooh. Okay.
I told you.
We're not following politics because reasons.
Because it's going to give me an ulcer, and it's aggravating rage. So,
yeah. All right. What was the last thing that you saw before you cleansed yourself of politics?
Oh, just everybody railing against the state. Oh, yeah, and taxation is theft.
What particularly was against the state?
All of it. Why are we even, we can argue with each other on Twitter, or why don't we just direct it at the state? Or we can, that sort of thing. Everybody's fools. We're letting the state divide us and argue with each other, while meanwhile the Democrats and Republicans are back to what they've been doing. Business as usual.
I will say, I don't know if you had I know you're out of politics, but there is a guy that I've been following, and his name is Joe Manchin. Are you familiar with Joe Manchin?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Joe Manchin.
I'd have to see his Twitter icon or something.
So as you know, the Senate is divided kind of in
50-50.
Half. It's 50-50, but technically speaking, it's 48 Democrats, 2 independents, and 50 Republicans. Okay, so there's this guy named Joe Manchin. He's from West Virginia. And being that the independents tend to vote with the Democrats, if there's a tie in the Senate, Kamala, did I say it right this time? Kamala Harris would be the tiebreaker as the president pro tempore.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first.
We know this stuff because we actually had civics classes where we learned about the roles of government and stuff, not like they teach in school today.
Well, you'd say that, but I know people that are my peers that went to school and don't know this shit. I don't know if they didn't get taught or they forgot, but so one of the things that Joe Manchin said when before the election happened, when they were asking Joe Biden at the time, former Vice President Joe Biden at the time, they were asking about packing the Supreme Court. They were asking about making D.C. and Puerto Rico states. And
you can't make D.C. a state.
Huh?
Wouldn't making D.C. a state require a constitutional amendment?
It would if they did it in the sense that you think they would. Instead, they would basically shrink the District of Columbia even smaller. That's what they would shrink it even smaller, and then the leftover area from D.C. would essentially become a state. That would be the 51st state, and Puerto Rico would be the 52nd state. And essentially that would give...
Well, then why don't they just have shrink D.C. and have everything else get absorbed by the states that are there?
You mean Maryland, basically?
And Virginia.
I mean, does D.C. actually... Well, whatever. Sure, fine. I thought D.C. was entirely in Maryland.
No, D.C. is in D.C. It's not part of a state.
Well, is D.C. surrounded by Maryland, or is D.C. surrounded by Virginia, Maryland?
By both, I believe.
I thought it was surrounded, but there.
So, in fact, I know because we stayed in Virginia. It was just
we stayed in Arlington. We stayed in Arlington, though. Arlington is Virginia. I thought D.C. was entirely like the Vatican. The Vatican surrounded by Italy.
Arlington's not part of DC,
No, it's part of Virginia,
right?
which is in Virginia. But I figured that Maryland came around. Whatever. Either way, it doesn't matter. The point is that if they make Puerto Rico a state, if they make if they make a DC a state by shrinking the DC to only the Capitol building, which is what they want to do, and that surrounding area they want to make another state.
Well, it would still require a constitutional amendment to add a state,
No,
wouldn't it?
well, no, not to make a
Or
state a
a
state.
convention, a convention of states.
No, it wouldn't. It would require basically a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic president to sign off. So what Joe Manchin said before the election happened was that he would be the one Democrat that would vote against it. And the other thing they wanted to do, I just remember while telling you this is, so they wanted to make D.C. and Puerto Rico states. They wanted to expand they wanted to fucking nuances, but they wanted to expand the Supreme Court from 9 justices to like fucking
They're not
15.
going to do that. Joe Biden was all talk. I mean, he also talked about uh, student loan forgiveness
But
in
here's
the
the
first
problem
week.
is they have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the president.
But
So
they're not going to do it. I
well,
mean, they've got all that, and he still won't do it.
I
You know,
I don't.
those are campaign promises, which are basically lies
But look at
that
the
sound good.
there's a difference in the campaign promises though. So when you promise, Supreme Court justices, like that ensures if you expand the Supreme Court and you expand basically the US Senate because that's what you do. You
If
give
they're not going to do it. If they know that if they do that, then the next time the Republicans have power, they're
which
going to turn around and appoint a dozen Supreme. Okay, so we're going to raise it to 15,
but
and
I
then they appoint
but I want you
six
to
more.
think of this right now, the way that culture is going because culture drives politics. The way that culture is going, we are on a downslope as to where everybody thinks college should be free. Everybody thinks
Who's
that we
we?
should have. I say we, as in the popular vote, like the popular vote as it is. So if you turn around, and you add 2 states. Think of that first thing there. If we add 2 states, we add electoral college votes. We add basically you add electoral college votes that are going to go Democrat all the time, and you add 4 senators that are going to be Democratic at all times. So any legislative things are automatically almost Democratic. Then you want to talk about the Supreme Court justices, and you already added people.
It's not. It's not going to.
You say that, but just play this out.
Okay, you need to carefully pick the panties out of your ass. It's not going to happen that way. If shit like that happens, you're currently in Texas. They'll secede. Um, Idaho, Montana.
I don't.
Montana's already been talking about secession.
I would say that, but would it really happen though?
Yeah, I think so. In fact, I'm to the point of believing that this country, this experiment, is a failure, and we need a divorce.
That would be. I mean, actually, not playing out the scenario would be hilarious. It would be because you know why? The states that actually secede, so basically like the Midwest, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, uh, maybe not Nebraska, but Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Missouri, Iowa.
Kentucky,
But well, you know what I mean. Like there's this basically not the coast states. So you have all these states in the middle that produce like 100% of the food basically,
mm-hmm.
and to include cattle and to include corn, wheat. They're going to be hardworking, and all these states that provide nothing but like refined
Liberal arts
goods.
degrees.
Well, they do provide like refined goods, right? So they would probably They probably make your processors, and they probably make your cars, and they probably. But like the sad part
Nah.
is it's just like you still need food to eat, and you still need people to make money to pay for your fucking programs. And where do you think most of that money comes from? I would venture to say if you broke up GDP by like regions, like you have West, you have Southwest, you have Midwest, you have Northeast, you have Southeast, I would venture to say, like, between Florida, which is Republican, Mississippi, Alabama, I would say Georgia if it weren't for like voting indiscrepancies because Trump only lost by 10,000 votes. But we'll say Georgia. You look at all those states coming up down through Texas, skipping New Mexico, going straight up to North Dakota. Will include Iowa. We'll include Ohio. We'll skip Michigan. We'll skip Wisconsin. Skip Minnesota. But if you look at all those states that come up that way, I would venture to say a majority, the GDP that's produced annually by the U.S. comes from those states. And when you look at like all those other states up the East Coast, up the West Coast, the only thing they provide are like services. They don't really provide the goods. And if we philosophically had a divorce, it would suck for those blue states. It really would. But what discourages me is things like shit happening. Um, are you keen on the Ted Cruz scandal?
What, the fact that he as a senator, not somebody who is involved with states' day to day business, went to fucking
Mm,
Cancun to escort his kids?
exactly.
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
You know who gives a fuck? Smooth brained individuals. You know who also gives a fuck? People that want to cover up Cuomo's shit show going on in New York. Did you hear about that too?
Oh yeah, I mean that was out a couple weeks ago, wasn't it? Where um, the social media person or somebody was being questioned, and they admitted that they were lying about numbers and stuff because they didn't want to give Trump ammunition against, or the Trump administration ammunition against the state.
Right, and it just goes back to what you were saying 2 or 3
It's all a
episodes ago.
sham.
It's
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 all
like
garbage.
look what's going
Everybody
on over here, and this is going on over here.
they all suck. And did you hear about Ghislaine Maxwell saying that she's got dirt? You know that Epstein had videos and stuff on Trump and Clinton and other prominent politicians.
I would like to see it.
I want them to release everything.
Me
I
too.
want to see every politician in Washington D.C. get,
Fucked.
doing the walk of shame.
Yeah, I do too. I
Just
I
watch
I
them get perp walked straight into. Yeah. But you know what? I don't think our country is savable anymore. We're in a cold civil. We've been in a cold civil war that is just starting to heat up, and it's just time to divorce. It's done.
mm,
Why are we continuing with this charade?
what do you think about this bill that's getting proposed about bailing out the blue states in this new COVID relief package?
Bailing them out how? Like giving California money? I know
Giving
California is suddenly dumping lots of money and stuff, like our own stimulus packages and stuff, and yada yada. Coincidentally, right when good old Newsom is about to be recalled.
mm, he wasn't.
My only bitch about that is that they can't have the election soon enough. There's still going to be. I think the earliest they could do the election would be this. The fall. So
Mm-hmm.
that's 6 months at least of him reopening the state and everybody forgetting about it because people are fucking goldfish, man. You start feeding them, they forget about what happened yesterday.
wouldn't. I like the term goldfish, but there's another term I'm particularly fond with. It's called memory holing. And like in 2020, it was very evident of memory holing because there's just so much shit that happened that it gets memory holed, as in the sense that it just there's so much that your brain can handle. Maybe your brain can only handle like for the past events, major events that happened. And so once the media creates another crisis, and I say the media because that's what happens. There's no racial crisis really, but they create a racial crisis, and then all of a sudden this falls by the way, and then all of a sudden there's this crisis. There's a climate control crisis or something, and that goes by the way. So the last event that happened out of the last four events. So in your mind, you're thinking, okay, um, there's climate change, there's racism, there's COVID, and Trump got impeached. And then the next thing happens, and basically it's like, let's say, I think at that point, um, there was like the COVID lockdown scandal. So then it was like Lori Lightfoot from Chicago. And so that pushed the Trump impeachment out of the way because but then the media tries to go on to the next story, which will memory hold the last story because they're trying to get like the Democrat shit way out of the way. So all of a sudden we are here where we are now, and we're talking about basically Ted Cruz, Trump impeachment, um, Ghislaine Maxwell, and something else, and all of a sudden, like all the shit that Cuomo did, all the shit that Pelosi did, all the shit Swalwell did, all the shit that whoever did, all that's so far away it's been memory hold. It's just been thrown into a hole, and me as a simple-brained American, no wrinkles at all up here. That is what I'm thinking of, these four things. And it's just amazing on how the media can have that much control to make you think these four things. I don't know. What do you think about that? What do you think about my theory? Memory holding.
Well, I mean, they've always done that since the beginning of time. Give you something else to look at. It's a fucking game, dude. It's a shell game. It's stupid. Um, that is why we just need to. This experiment has failed. We need to start over.
I hate that you say that. I really do.
Why?
I just I just don't like that. Like I So when you say experiment, can you expound on that?
The social experiment of the United States of America. If California wants to go socialist, fucking let them. That's the thing. The United States was supposed to be 50 independent states that kind of like the European Union. It was a union of states
Mm.
that you have your own government hierarchy, and the federal government was just supposed to kind of facilitate interstate commerce and national defense. And they got too big for their britches. So, barring going through and wiping out all those laws and stuff, it's not going to work. If they had a it just wouldn't work. If you took if we were all independent states at this point and tried to have a constitutional convention now, it would never fly. And California would probably, you know, do their own thing. They might unify. They might join up with Oregon and Washington.
So what do you mean by like a constitutional convention specifically?
If it exactly like I said, if we tried to do that constitutional convention that happened, in the 1780 whatever 1780s, um, it would not happen now.
So basically, you're saying if if we tried to get all the delegates to meet up in DC to basically amend Constitution or write a
To
Constitution,
agree on anything.
but a constitutional convention doesn't mean.
Okay, so let's pretend,
All
as
right,
I was
that's
saying,
all right.
let's pretend we are all individual states. There's no federal government or federal authority. If we had a constitutional convention like what happened in the 1780s, we wouldn't have this. We would not be the United States of America. California, Washington, and Oregon would probably form some, Pacifica or whatever. Other states would group up, but we're too divided. It's time to just say, yep, we tried, it didn't work, fuck it.
But the so and I'm just trying to be clear. Like at the time that happened, there wasn't 50
Not at the
states.
time, not at the time that it happened. I am saying right now, if you go right now, we're all individual states, and
Hmm.
each of these states got together for a constitutional convention like they did in the 1780s. We would not have a country as we see it.
Why do you think that is? Why wouldn't it happen?
Because there's two we're too far polar opposites.
So there's
You've got the actual Republican right who um think who think the left is absolutely batshit crazy. We've got the left who thinks the right's absolute batshit crazy. We've got the libertarians who think both sides are fucking authoritarian and want nothing to do with them. And yeah,
but
and we've got
you don't think there's anybody in the Democratic or Republican like because you do
I think
understand
there's
like go ahead.
I think there's handfuls of people that on either side of the aisle that yes, they have a more moderate and rational viewpoints,
Hmm.
but at this point, no, I do not believe we would be able to put together a nation under the current political climate.
Hmm.
Because especially with California screaming out, "Oh, well, we've got more, we should have more votes, because
We have more illegals.
well, no, but talking about like senators and stuff like that in the Senate. The
What?
whole reason for the electoral, we should have popular vote because we had more votes in California than the rest of the country, blah, 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 blah. You know, no, we don't. That's the whole thing. We don't want us, people in the smaller states. That was a specific reason to have an electoral college, was so that the high population centers, New York at the time, Boston,
Massachusetts, New
they
York,
would not be able to
dictate
enforce
policy.
their will on the other states. So, yeah, fuck that. California would be all trying to swing their dick around and, oh, well, we've got more people than all these other states combined, so we should have more voting power. No, fuck you. You know what? You guys just go do your own thing and don't enjoy our food.
Pretty
It's time
much.
for divorce. That's what it is. This is a failed experiment. It is time for divorce. Um, I'm ready for it. I am done. I am sick of it. I cannot wait for California. Man, before I moved out of California, there was that petition going around for
Governor's.
California to secede.
Oh, for them to secede.
Yep.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, this was several years ago. Nothing ever came of it. But yep,
The,
fuck
the,
yeah.
the thing that Texas does every 2 years.
Oh, I wish they would. Although, no, I don't wish they would. I need them to wait until I can be a property owner in Texas first. But
Dude, this is. I'll let you know right now. Sidebar: everybody in the channel, just put your earmuffs on. But I plan on when I retire, to buy a large portion of land or acquire, I should say. Maybe I will get lucky and I know people. But I wish to acquire a large parcel of land. Okay? Because land is going to be pretty important. And yeah, I plan on building a nice house and just having a huge lot. Whether I choose to
Oh,
grow grass and fucking,
well, it
bale
wouldn't.
hay.
I still need to get land there because my understanding is the way the Texas Constitution has it is that if you're a landowner, a Texas landowner, then you're considered a Texas citizen. So
Yes.
if Texas were to
Well,
secede, if Texas were to secede, I mean, if you're living there when it all happens, you're there. But if I'm living where I'm at and Texas secedes by owning land in Texas, I'm considered a Texas citizen, so I could go there unhindered.
I would say if that did happen, you always have a home on my land. If you don't have your own land,
If I'm
and
able to sneak past the checkpoint trying to keep Californians out, they might do a background check on me and say, "Holy shit, you lived in California 6 years ago. Fuck no, you're not allowed in here."
as I said on an earlier Twitter post, if you plan on moving to Texas, let me
I do
know.
not.
And well, you stay there in Idaho getting state taxed, then my dude, you stay up there. Because taxes are theft, but you're getting taxed by
They
your own
are
fucking state. So when Texas becomes its own state, I want you to think about that.
its own state,
Its own state.
its own nation,
Well, when we talk about big government, we talk about the big state.
that state.
So when Texas becomes its own state, you're only paying basically what 6% tax versus the 30% the federal government takes from you. But that's neither here nor there. But you keep me in your mind when you come down to Texas because I have a lot of friends that like to bitch, and I'm like, dude, it's not that bad in Texas. It's not. Now I will say that sometimes I do look at Florida like this. I don't know. Florida seems to be a little bit more based than Texas, just because of like Ron DeSantis and yeah.
Well, the problem with Texas right now is that you've got a flood of tech companies moving into Austin and bringing employees with them,
Yes.
and so they're also bringing their policies and shit like that too. They're fleeing California because of the high taxes and those policies, but they're also then
Bringing
they're
them
fleeing. Yeah, they're
stupid
fleeing
ideas.
California because of the high taxes, but they're bringing the policies that created that problem to begin with.
Yo, bro, we need to tax the rich and blah 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 and give to the poor. It's like, dude, if the poor aren't willing to work, if they're not willing to pull themselves up by the bootstraps, then it's just this. It's not gonna work. You're just you're basically taking away from the middle class because the rich people will get the tax breaks and the middle class will be stuck paying for the people not willing to work. But yeah, we're reaching pretty close to end of time. Was there anything else you wanted to address, dearest Darian?
No, that's about it. It's just time for divorce. We need to have
Mm,
that honey is time. We need to have a talk.
uh, give us the final word, sir.
Oh, well, actually, there was one last little thing too.
Do you have a
You
quote?
know,
Oh,
no, 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 about the DC insurrection.
oh,
You know, how this was all Trump's fault and all that, and
apparently, yes. Lay it on me,
um,
brother.
but the FBI, it's like, oh well, these pipe bombs were planted, the day before the um, insurrection attempt, and
With no weapons, mind you.
yeah, well, I don't want to say no weapons, but very, very few. And I don't believe any guns. I don't think anybody brought a gun into the Capitol building,
Right. Like, I mean, you
except the cops who killed the one person who was actually killed during the riot, or I'm sorry, insurrection.
insurrection. Thank you.
Um, well, I guess other people were killed, but only one actually, an actual homicide.
Correct.
So
Aside from the guy that was, we still don't know the police officer's cause of death. Was it
we don't know
sickening?
the officially. However, like I said, the day of
Mm.
Shortly after it happened, I saw a report that said um, he had a stroke in the office after returning to the office that evening. And as soon as I saw other publications and stuff talking about, oh, cop killed by protester during the insurrection, I went back trying to find that and get a screenshot, and it was gone.
I mean,
So
I will just say
his
that.
family has come out saying that he had pre-existing conditions. They don't want it politicized.
Right.
So,
And
um,
apparently he got hit in the head with a fire extinguisher.
well, that was proven disproven,
I know, I know, I know.
along with the zip tie thing and all
Mm.
that. But anyhow, so we're talking about Washington D.C., a city that's got cameras fucking everywhere, and the FBI says, okay, well, we know that these were placed here the day before, but they can't identify or see, who, what, when, and all that. So it's a shell game. You're being lied to. We need a divorce. The government's corrupt. They all must go. It's time. It's time for a divorce. It's time to be done. This is a failed experiment.
It kind of saddens me that you say that. Just a little bit. You know why?
I'm sorry, bro. You can get your passport. Come visit me in the free state of Idaho. I'll
Ain't
come visit you in the free state of Texas.
you? Oh, okay, all right. I was about to say like, oh, you the only free state? Um, you didn't mention something about taxes, and I'm a little worried. Like,
Oh no, that's the final thought as usual.
okay, lay it on
But
me, brother.
this wasn't the final thought. This was just, oh yeah, we didn't talk
Oh,
about this.
okay, okay. So, okay, the final word there, sir.
It's time for a divorce, and taxation is theft.
Thank you. I was worried. It's like it's like one of those things the military makes you do, where they actually make you go in and they make you like answer security questions so that if somebody tried to pretend to be you, they wouldn't know the answers to the questions, like who was your best friend in third grade, or
Except social media has fucked all that up.
only because people are stupid.
Yeah. Like,
People,
oh yeah, what's your, here, what's your porn star name? It's, this your pet's name, your favorite pet's name, and the street you grew up on. Kind of shit.
that
You
shit,
know,
yes.
have you heard this one? This is a good one. What's your hooker name? Do you know that one? Do you know your
Well,
hooker name?
I thought wouldn't hooker name be synonymous with like porn star name?
No, no, no.
Oh,
What's your
what's
hooker name?
I don't know. What's my hooker name?
It's your mom's first name and your mom's last name.
Oh my. Oh, you know,
Anyhow, taxation is theft.
taxation is theft, and the divorce is inevitable, and it needs
I
to
sure
happen.
hope so.
Um, but
And
anyway,
it is because it was a great. The idea was great.
it
There's a lot of
was
great principles, but it's just time. California can have their craziness.
New
They
York,
can have. Yep.
Maryland,
All of them think, oh, well, we've got the
Virginia,
biggest GDP because of,
Oregon,
we've got the movie industry and we've got this and we got
Washington
that,
State.
and you just bet money that those fuckers going to be bailing the shit out of there.
All right, dude. See how many people want to watch your movies. See how many people want to go visit the Big Apple when everybody's fucking left and there's nothing but bums there.
Well,
But
where are they gonna go?
that's my point. Everybody from New York pretty much moved to Florida, and everybody from California that had money moved to Texas. So
Yes, but the people with money who are trying to move to Texas, so they're the big blue donors and whatnot. Do you think the new Texas government, if this happens, actually would let these people come in and ruin what they have?
no, they shouldn't.
Exactly.
They shouldn't. If they're pure, if they're Puritans, no. It'd be like you can take that shit to fucking New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado. Get out of here. We don't want you. We don't want
Exactly.
you. We
And
don't
so
need
that's
your
that's
money.
what's going to happen. Is and actually, I think what would really happen is the big California folk will double down, like, yeah, fuck yeah, well, we're California, we can do it. And then they're going to realize that all the worker bees are like, yep, we're out of here. And that's what's going to happen. The worker bees are going to bail. They're going to realize that their fiat currency is toilet paper.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Like I said, when I said it like 4 or 5 episodes ago, I just hope that when this happens, I'm a free agent and I can pick a side.
Yep.
I don't want to be forced to show up and knock on somebody's door that I know personally or I love or I trust and have to tell them to do something I don't agree with. So
Like what? Weapon confiscation?
that or quartering or
So what's the constitutionality of that?
well, it wouldn't matter, right? Like I said,
Oh, but I thought in UCMJ you are allowed to disobey unconstitutional orders.
oh, you were in a non-totalitarian government, but imagine how things would go out the window because at the same time your commander in chief is your commander in chief. So if you disobeyed the commander in chief, you'd get in trouble, but then you would say, well, by the Constitution, and it's like, well, then becomes the question that no one's ever had to address, which is, do you support and defend the Constitution or are you in the executive branch? What do you do? And if you live in a banana republic, which, maybe we'll be there, maybe we won't, if the banana republic says this is the will of the Constitution or this is what I command you to do, and essentially you end up being like those bad people in World War II, where many of them said, look, I did this because I was told to do this. I was
Just following orders.
just following orders. Thank you.
Well, even more recent is like, Vietnam, Iraq. They had soldiers like, oh well, we shot on, we fired on this building because, this, that, or the other.
That's
You're told to.
that's different in the sense I will say those weren't American citizens. That is the only difference.
Right.
But I just hope I am out when, shit hits.
So
the
here's a
fan.
question.
Hmm.
Well, first of all, deploying you domestically would be a big no-no anyway. But should you be deployed domestically, would you go door to door confiscating firearms from people?
I would probably be derelict in my duties because at that point, I've already thought of that.
It's not being derelict in your duties. It's adhering to the oath you took
No,
when you
no, no,
enlisted.
no. If I showed up to your house, it's likely to. It's safe to assume that you have firearms. We won't say you do.
I don't know.
We,
I don't know if I do or don't.
right, exactly. So I would show up. I would be like,
I mean, I've been boating recently, so
I'd be like, hey, sir, we are sent by the government. We're here to see if you have firearms, and we will buy back your firearms or whatever, right? And you're like, I don't have any. And I'd be like, okay, cool, let's move on. And then my soldiers would be like, well, hey, we got to check his house. I'm like, no, we're fine. Well, I was like, you know what? Because here's the thing is like, here's the cool thing. I think I value your constitutional right more than I value like any pension I have.
I also think a lot. I'm a light case. Think of some of the cases in more of the fanatical areas where it's not a matter of valuing their constitutional rights over your pension. It's valuing your life over, taking their guns.
I think I would value my here's the thing is so if I went to because we're going into the psychology of citizens, but if I'm gonna put myself in
You know what?
I'm just gonna say I'll put myself in your shoes. If soldiers show up to my house and they start asking about confiscating my guns, there's already a code word I went through with my wife or anybody in the household to know to get ready.
Let's put a pin in this and let's pick this up next week.
Next week?
Guns and gun control.
Okay. Version 2.
Version 2. In fact, yep, United States 2.0.
Well, 2A 2.0. But yes.
Or both.
Yeah. But no, thank you, Darian, for pointing that out.
So yes, final words are it's time for divorce and taxation is theft.
Thank you. Never fails. Last part. If you enjoyed the show, give us a like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like it, go ahead and subscribe anyway, so you can continue to dislike this video and comment on it. But we appreciate you guys. We will be back next week. Hopefully, Darian is getting a little better by then, and
next week, Darian's probably going to be feeling like shit because his physical therapist is going to kick his ass.
Yes. See, if you just would move down here to Texas and lift it with me, easy.
No, I'm going to be exercising, but I'm not a lift bro. I never was.
But we don't talk about that next week. Anyway, thank you everybody. We got to get out of here. We got lives to live. You got a life to live. But we will catch you next week sometime. Sunday, maybe Monday, who knows. But thank you for tuning in. I'm Jake.
I'm Drake.
And this is Jake and Drake Show. We'll see you next week.